In this video, I'm going to talk about graphing lines, and first thing you need to know are the parts of your equation. The 1/2 in front of the x is my slope, and the 2 right here is my y-intercept. And a y-intercept is where the equation hits the y-axis. And in order for it to hit the y-axis, my x has to be 0. So that gives me a starting point. If my x is 0, and it intersects the y-axis at 2, that's going to be my starting point right here, 2. So I mark 2 on my y-axis, and then my slope is my driving direction. It's a positive 1, so I'm going to go up 1 space, and it's a positive 2 over, because remember, slope is y over x, so I'm going to move along the x-axis 2 spaces, and positive is on the right side. So 1, 2 spaces over, and put a dot. And to have a more accurate line, it helps to have more than 2 points. So I'm going to do the pattern again. I'm going to go up 1 and over 2. And now that I have my points, I'm going to connect them with a straight line. And there's my graphing of my line. Okay, let's look at another equation. Y equals negative 3x plus 5. My y-intercept is 5, so I'm going to start at 5 on the y-axis. So I'm going to put a dot at 5 on the y-axis. And my slope is negative 3. And notice this time's not a fraction, so I only know my up, down. I don't know my over. Well, if you remember, when you divide by 1, you never change the number. 2 divided by 1 is still 2. Negative 3 divided by 1 is still negative 3. So I can put it over 1 without changing the problem. So I started at 5. My top is negative 3. That's my y, so I'm going to move down 3 spaces on the y-axis. 1, 2, 3. And my x, because remember slope is y over x, I'm going to move over positive 1, and positive 1's this direction, and put a dot. And for good measure, I'm going to do it again. Down 3 spaces and over 1. Take my straight line and connect my dots. And so there's that one. Now the other situation might be that I have an equation that's not in y equals form, and I can't graph it until it's y equals form. So I'm going to box my y. Okay, so I need to get rid of what's outside of the box. I need to get rid of the whole 2x. So to get rid of a positive 2x, I'm going to subtract 2x from both sides. And that leaves me with 4y is equal to negative 2x plus 12. Okay, let me move this out of the way for a second. Okay, that gives me 4y. I want 1y. So to separate a number from a variable, I'm going to use division. So go ahead and divide everything by 4. And that leaves me with y equals, well, I can reduce negative 2 over 4. I can leave it that way, and I would still get it right. But I'm going to go ahead and reduce it to negative 1 over 2, because both of these are divisible by 2. Okay, and then 12 divided by 4 is 3. So right here's my y-intercept. So I'm going to start at positive 3 on the y-axis. I'm going to move down 1 over positive 2. 1, 2. I'm going to repeat the pattern again. Down 1 over 2. Go ahead and connect it with a nice straight line. There we go, and I'm done. Now, that's if it's equal to. Let's look at an inequality. So y is less than 1/2 x minus 3. Same thing. My y-intercept is negative 3, so I'm going to mark that on my graph. Mark, oh, I made a mistake. Let me undo that. It's a negative 3. Go back. It's a negative 3, so I'm going to start at negative 3 on the y-axis. I'm going to go up 1 space over 2. Up 1 over 2. Up 1 over 2. Connect it with a straight line, but this time it's not equal to, so I have to use a dotted line. Okay? And because it's less than, and I remember less than because 1 dot is less than 2, The 2 dots are on the bigger side, so this y is on the smaller side. 1 dot's less than 2 dots. And because it's less than, I'm going to shade everything below my line. I hope this helps.